Daily expenses remain high due to inflation. More Americans are relying on their credit cards. It means that more people are taking on debt so they can maintain their lifestyles. Xavier Walton joins us live with more on the struggle being felt by millions.
You know what seems like a coincidence, but really isn't? 47% of adults in America opened a new credit card last year. And Visa and MasterCard had record-breaking profits last year. Both companies increasing their revenue by over 10%. And if you don't think 10% a lot, well, certainly I think it is. Damn! Credit card companies are getting more sophisticated when it comes to determining who are worthy creditors and how they can profit off of your mistakes. So in today's video, we're going to break down how they're actually making money off of you and how you can optimize your spending so that you can benefit from actually having a credit card. But first, hi, my name is Kwame Davis, and if this is your first time to the channel, have you ever heard of UpDog?
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Well, if you either said or thought in your mind, what's up, dog, then you need to subscribe to the channel and smash that like button. But welcome to the channel. If it's your first time here, we talk about personal and financial growth, and today we're talking about credit card companies and how to beat them at their own game. How can you optimize your spending and obviously take advantage of all of the benefits that credit cards actually have. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So how do credit card companies actually make their money? Well, they make their money in three ways. Credit card companies make most of their income through interest charges, cardholder fees, and transaction fees paid by the businesses that accept credit cards. So very quickly, let's break down what each one of these things mean. Well, credit card companies charge you interest on any unpaid balances, and this interest is called APR. APR is your annual rate, which means, for example, if you have an APR of 12%, you will be charged 1% each month that you have an unpaid balance. So even if you pay the minimum payment, you may not have a late fee, but these balances they'll have to get paid, right? And the interest on the balance, therefore, will have to get paid as well. The average interest rate can vary between 18 and 25% on average per card, right? So if you are unsure of your interest rate, some credit card companies make it really easy to actually see what interest that you should be charged. As you can see, I have Capital One, and I can just type in the chat bot and ask how much interest that I actually be paying if I didn't pay my full balance off for the month. And additionally, you can see how much you'd be charged on your monthly statements. Okay, so secondly, credit card companies make money from annual cardholder fees. According to Statista, there were 133.3 million American Express cards in circulation in the United States and worldwide in 2022. The annual fees range by card from the entry-level Blue Card at $0 to the mid-tier Amex Gold Card, which increased recently from $95 to $250. And finally, the Premium Platinum Card, which will run you around $695 a year. And let's just say there are 133.3 million American Express cards in circulation. If we just take half of those cards and say that they're all Gold Card members, being charged $250 annual fees each, that is $16.625 billion.
Or $1 million.
That American Express is making annually just off cardholder fees. Wow, that was a tongue twister. And I mean, that is insane. But that's if the other half of that 133.3 million had zero annual fee, which I do not think is the case. I think there are way more people that have actually platinum cards paying that $695 annual fee. And lastly, number three, how credit cards typically make their money is off of merchant fees that they charge for processing transactions. So most people wouldn't be aware of this, but merchants actually have to pay a processing fee whenever you use your credit card. So if you ever wanted to start a business, or when you do decide to start your business, you will have to actually pay to process your customers' payments. And credit card companies typically charge you 1.5 to 3.5% per transaction. And going back to American Express, that was 58% of their $51.7 billion in revenue last year, all coming from merchant fees. And unfortunately, sometimes those merchant fees are passed down to the consumer. So for instance, many mom and pop shops will pass these merchant fees down to the consumer because of the tight margins. And whenever you actually see a credit card fee, just know that you are helping assist to pay for that merchant fee for that business. Okay, so now that we've went over how credit card companies are charging you, let's get into how can you avoid it, or how can you just benefit from having a credit card. So number one, which seems obvious and everybody says it, right? It's pay the credit card off at the end of the month. I think the reason why everybody says it is because it works, and it's true. If you don't want to pay interest, just pay your bill, right? It is that simple. Although for a lot of people, it isn't. Right? And so that's why you have to be very sure that you have a budget and you have a financial plan in place so that you actually can pay that. Make sure that you do not put more charges on that credit card than you do have money in your bank account. If you have $1,000 in your bank account, you should not be putting $2,000 of expenses on this credit card. I don't care if the new Temu tracksuit dropped. Like, do not spend money that you do not have. And ultimately, paying your credit card bill every month is just going to look great on your credit report, and it's just going to increase your credit score over time. So just pay it off. Month to month, just pay it off. And do not miss a payment. Be very consistent. Okay, this is a bit controversial, but if the annual fee makes sense, then you should get that credit card that fits your financial needs. And if it doesn't, then you should have a card that either has a low annual fee or that does not have an annual fee at all, which there are plenty that fall into that bucket. When I was in college, there was a moment in my life where I had $27 in my bank account. And I overcame that, right? And then when I graduated college, a bunch of student loans hit me at once, and I couldn't pay it. Even though I had built up an income, I had built up my bank account, right? Like, I couldn't pay these student loans off immediately. And so my credit score ended up dropping to somewhere in the low 500s. Since then, I've been able to get that credit score up. And let me know in the comments if you want some tips on how I did that. I was able to do that because at that time, the best credit card for me was a secured credit card. And it actually helped me build my credit. But since then, I've been able to increase my income, and I've been able to upgrade the cards that I use, right, to fit my financial needs. For example, the credit card that I most prevalently use today is the Capital One Venture X. And if you sign up for this card, you get a 75,000 mile bonus after spending $4,000 in 3 months. You also get $300 annual travel credit, and you also get 10,000 free miles every year and a $100 credit towards global entry and or TSA PreCheck. And the annual fee is $395. And not only do you get those perks, but within the last month, within the month of December, I racked up around 11,000 miles. And so it depends on how frequently you use the card and what you're using it for. But get the card that fits your financial needs, right? And whatever part of your life you're at. If you don't want a card with an annual fee, but you do want the points, you can always sign up for the card, get the bonus miles, and then downgrade the card, right? And you can still keep those bonus miles. Just make sure you check with the credit issuer to confirm that your credit score will not be impacted negatively. But there are cards for everything. There's a Costco credit card if you are a big wholesale shopper for your family. There are travel cards. I think the Venture X is a great travel card. I also think some airline credit cards are actually good. And for the United States, if you live in a particular part of the United States, you can get that airline's card. One thing that I will say is be cautious whenever you get a credit card and the annual fee increases. You can always downgrade to another card. And one thing that I have not done, but I will try, is negotiating the annual fee. So for instance, I do not think that the increase in the Amex Gold card from $95 to $250 is worth it. But I do think having the gold card is still worth it. There are some perks that I do enjoy. And so I'm either going to do one or two things. I'm either going to downgrade the card, or I am going to try to negotiate getting a credit for the increase in the annual fee or the entire annual fee. So I'll make a video on that, but these are just some of the options you have. But again, just get a card that fits your identity. Get a card that fits your lifestyle. And lastly, how can you avoid merchant fees being passed to you, or at least mitigate the amount of merchant fees that these businesses are being charged? Although fortunately, most businesses that fall into this bucket and have to pass on that charge to the customer are mom and pop or brick and mortar shops. And so what I've noticed and what I've been doing lately is asking, right? For instance, whenever I go to a restaurant, I will ask, hey, is it possible to use a combination of cash and credit card? And does this actually help you from paying the merchant fees? I remember when I went to one of my favorite restaurants in the city that I live in, I was having a conversation with one of the waiters, and he said, literally, even if you have $1 This will help us save millions of dollars a year on merchant fees and processing your credit card transactions. So please, whenever you come in, just make sure you bring some cash because it'll reduce the amount we pay. Now, I don't know if this is the case for all businesses, but I do know some small businesses actually allow you to do this. And so I highly encourage to avoid having these merchant fees. Definitely try to pay in combination of cash or cash only. You ever just want to help out a little bit. Look, I think credit cards can be great for establishing credit and leverage to increase your credit score over time. I also think that utilizing credit and optimizing your spending can give you cash back for the money that you're spending, right? Going back to me getting 11,000 miles, that's equivalent to $110, right, with Capital One. And so if you use them properly, they can either help you, or if you use them improperly, they can hurt you. But if you don't learn anything from this video, if you learn one thing, that is pay your credit card bill off every month on time, consistently, and you'll be in a better place financially. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I hope you learned a little something from this quick one here. And I hope you have a day that's just as amazing as you are, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.